What's going on, guys? My name is Matt. I'm going to help you automate your fitness business. Now, today we're going to be creating an AI agent that pulls progress reports of your clients. Now, there's a couple of things we need to have in order for this to work. And the first one is just your data of your clients accessible in a way that we can actually plug it into a workflow. So for example, the reason I have built this automation is because I want my clients to be able to retrieve information on clients without having to, open up a specific app. I want them to be able to do it entirely from Slack. And I want them to be able to pull progress reports for testimonials, just to check in with clients. Like a lot of my clients are working with potentially hundreds of coaching clients. So they need to be able to recall data really quickly. And yes, they might be able to open Trainerize and look at the trends and look at the logs and all that kind of stuff. But all of that takes time. And I want them to be able to do this really, really fast. So the way that this works is we've got the information here. So the client check-in information, we've got a sheet down the bottom called Dan Hooker. So this assumption here is you would have a sheet for each person, which would be a very big sheet. So there might be a better way to do this by pulling information from an app. But for the sake of the example, we've got all of their check-in information. So this is just their metrics, so weight, macros, and compliance. So we've got the weight fluctuations here. We've got the macros staying the same. We've got the compliance filtering through there as well. And just 15 example dates. So once we've got that information, we're going to use this platform called Lindy. If you haven't used Lindy before, it helps you build AI agents, and it's a no-code tool. And it's a really simple automation. So what we do here, we have a message received set being the trigger. In my channel, YouTube demos, filter events on this trigger, so only events that match this criteria, which is client report, will it proceed. So what it's doing is it's watching the YouTube channel demos chat that I have here, for the phrase client report. Now, client report is going to filter, is actually going to trigger this. So it only runs when this happens. If you don't have this on, it's just going to be looking at every single message that comes through, and it's going to try and run the automation, which is going to use a lot of credits. So be really wary of that. The next step is the actual AI agent here. So this gets given a prompt, and then it has the ability to complete a set number of tasks. So I've got 4 different skills that it has here, and basically what that is send messages, write AI text, and also get Google spreadsheets, because we want it to be able to retrieve the information from the spreadsheet. So looking at the prompt here, it says you are an AI fitness coach who creates client progress reports of client progress. You watch out for messages that contain client report followed by the name of the client. You then find the sheet that corresponds to the client name. You then generate a report using emojis that shows their trending progress, and you send that message to the coach on Slack after generating using the send message function. The channel the coach is in is YouTube demos, and the coach member ID is this. So what this is doing, it basically is waiting for that information to come through, and then it is deciding whether or not to send that information through back. So I want to test it with you because it's very easy to set up. Like, this is the entire thing. So we're going to go into Slack, and I've got this one here. So client report, Dan Hooker. That should work. I might have to change the capitalization to lowercase, but let's just run a test here. So I haven't turned this live. So let's just retry here, and let's get our client report, Dan Hooker. So that's running from this one. So I want it to run again, but it's already doing it. So let's just try and stop it. And let's go back off here, and back up here. Let's go test. And we want to test this one here. Okay, it's just going to resume anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So what it's doing here is says, I'll help create a progress report from Dan Hooker. Let me first get the spreadsheet data. Let me search for Dan Hooker's data in the client spreadsheet. I will search. Whoa, it's already going. I want to go through this step by step. I will set the spreadsheet to Dan Hooker's specific sheet. Now I'll execute the request to get the information. All right, so the failed node is not reachable from the current conversation execution. Oh, yeah, it's trying to run the old one. So let me just refresh this, and I'll run it again. But let's see if it... Okay, no, it did actually run anyway because I had it turned on. So what we've got here is client report Dan Hooker, and then the Lindy reply. It says, I'm trying to generate a progress report for Dan, but I'm having trouble accessing the data. Could you please verify that the data is entered properly in client check-ins? This is a really good actual example, because some things don't always work the first time. So what we're going to do is let's try and do it again, and we'll give it a test. So I'm just going to go client report Dan Hooker and see if this runs. Because it might have just been caught in the little what's it called? caught in its own head. So let's just see if that, so it is on, so it should come through. It might require the capitalization. Dan Hooker. I think I did Dan Hooker with capitals as well. So let's just do this and wait for it to pop through. So it won't show us a running what's it called? Flow of this information, but it should give us some notification just quickly. You can see it's running here. So if we click on this, it should be able to, yeah, here we go. So I'll create a spreadsheet, a progress report of Dan Hooker. Let me first get the spreadsheet data, just making sure I spelled all this right. Yep, Dan Hooker, cool. So the interesting thing with this is that it actually doesn't require you to fill in any variables. Like all the other automation tools require you to populate like the spreadsheet ID. We had to fill in spreadsheet ID, but like required you to put in like search the sheet name. But this all does it via AI, which is so cool to me. Like I just think it's fascinating. So we've got a response here from client report Dan Hooker, and we've got a giant progress report here. So if we have a look, it says Dan Hooker progress report, weight journey, up, down, and maintenance. So starting point, it gives us our information, and then basically says if he fluctuated or like there was a variable in his weight and also the lowest weight that was achieved, significant drop on this one here. Like it's just showing the information in a really cool way. So macro compliance, perfect day, great days, and then good days, and then challenging days were highlighted as well. Macro consistency, so it's just showing this information in a way that would be super easy for you now to reflect on that with the client. So this agent is so simple to set up that it's almost terrifying. So if you're looking to set up something like this, then I might provide this recipe in my Skool community. You can join that below for free, and you can jump in there and get some resources. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Just a really quick AI agent. Again, it's just a part of the series that I'm doing, and I will speak to you guys again soon.